She did over 200 reviews and interviews when she was with Kids First, and she said, what I learn, I use in my work every day.
Welcome to Midland Money Mindset, your weekly dose of inspiration and insights to ensure you enjoy each step of your journey. Whether you're saving for the future, planning your next big adventure, or simply looking to add more joy to your life, you've come to the right place. Now, let's dive in.
Today's kids are growing up in a world where screens often teach the wrong lessons: violence, bias, and empty entertainment that dulls their creativity. That pain sparked Ranny Levy's lifelong mission: to create a media movement that uplifts instead of harms. As the founder of Kids First, Ranny empowers young people to become confident storytellers and thoughtful consumers, reviewing films, walking red carpets, and shaping a brighter, more mindful future for families everywhere. Get ready for a powerful conversation about purpose, media, and the magic that happens when we teach kids to think critically and dream boldly. I'm Larry Sprung, your host for the Midland Money Mindset and founder and wealth advisor of Midland Financial. Let's dive into the show. Well, I am super excited today to have Ranny Levy, co-founder of Kids First. I'm so excited for our conversation today, Ranny. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So listen, we want to give our audience a little bit of background about you. We'll talk a lot about Kids First next, but just give the listeners like a 10,000-foot view of who Ranny Levy is.
A 10,000-foot view is like from the top of the Empire State Building?
Well, if you're afraid of heights, 5,000 will do.
Okay. I feel like I'm falling through a parachute right now.
Okay.
Who Ranny Levy is? Well, I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I'm a former teacher, former dancer, and performer. And I switched ends of the camera in the early 80s, actually, because I felt like I could be more effective as a producer than a performer. And Kids First was founded in 1991. We're just celebrating our 34th anniversary this year.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of a miracle to still be around. We've gone through a lot of changes over the years. But it came about as a result of conversations that I had with other people in the media industry, with teachers, with librarians, child development specialists, people who were concerned about what kids were watching and how they were learning about programming that was available. At that time, we were focused on home videos, and a lot of the programming that was coming out looked good on the surface. It sounded good, but oftentimes it was what we call pan and scan. It wasn't the same quality of programming that we have today. We have a lot better programming available today and a lot worse.
And I appreciate you giving us a little bit of color on your background. So can you share with us, as it stands today, right? Today, we're, you said you started this in the mid 90s, Kids First. We're now 2025. What's the mission of Kids First today?
It's pretty simple. It's really to teach children to make good choices about the media that they choose to ingest. And along with that, parents are involved as well because they're often the gatekeepers of the programming. So rather than give the parents the white list about this is good, this is not, we engage kids in helping them learn to analyze programming and make their own positive media choices.
Now, is there a specific age demographic that you're aiming for? Or because that seems like something that a very young child may not be able to do, but an older child may be able to do.
Well, and that's why I said the parents get involved as well. So we're really focused on kids between the ages of 2 and 18. But those 2 to 5-year-olds, 5 to 8-year-olds are very much influenced by what the parent decides they can and cannot watch. So in many ways, it's kind of the older kids that are 8 to 18 that become more involved in becoming trained to make their own good media choices.
Sure. Now, I mean, as you mentioned yourself, you founded Kids First over 30 years ago. So a lot has changed, especially in this area of media for kids. How have you had to, and how has the organization had to evolve over the decades?
Yeah, so we definitely have changed with the times. We started in the area of home entertainment, which was VHS tapes. Today, do you remember that antiquated technology?
I do. I still have a few.
Yeah. Remember, you could rewind them with your hand if you needed to go back. And I still remember when DVDs first came out and they were announced at the Video Software Dealers Association conference, and we're all going, wow, that's so cool. And it's so tiny, it takes up so little space. I mean, in my office at one time, we had over 5,000 DVDs lined up on the shelves because when we were evaluating them, we physically had to ship them out to our reviewers. So we shipped them out and they sent them back. So we constantly, we had 2 rooms dedicated to inventory and shipping and 2 people that did nothing but that. But that's kind of the main thing, that as technology has grown, and then what we focus on evaluating, we really realize that we're a content evaluator. So as I said, we started out evaluating home entertainment products, and that quickly morphed into the theatrical area and into television as well, because that's what people are watching, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So today, when we talk about evaluating films, it's films, TV shows, the moving electronic images.
Yeah. I mean, I think you would agree. Wouldn't you say it's more difficult today in some regards? Because years ago, you'd have to have that actual physical item, whether it was the VHS or the DVD. And many times parents could then get involved, perhaps make sure it doesn't get into their hands. But now basically everything's at all the kids' fingertips. So does that make this more of a challenge?
In some ways it does, and in some ways it's kind of insignificant. I remember when things started moving to streaming, and we've done a lot of studies with children and with parents about how kids watch programming. And so we would interview children and ask them, when you're watching a film, do you watch it in the cinema? Do you watch it on your computer? Do you watch it on your tablet? Do you watch it on your phone? And they would say yes. Because you laugh. They watch it in all those different formats. They may be watching it on their computer, and mom says, we're going to grandma's for Thanksgiving, come on. And they just switch it over to their phone and walk out the door. They don't miss a beat.
Right. Yeah. Now, one of the things I found interesting is you work to engage young people in the process. You have them on the red carpet, and you actually have them conducting interviews. Why do you think this is such an integral part of your model?
Well, first of all, I'm impressed that you've done your homework. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
Yeah, we have a team of 65 reporters, entertainment reporters. They are between the ages of 9 and 23. They're from all across the country, plus we have 4 or 5 international destinations represented. And those kids are kind of our calling card in a lot of ways. They attend press screenings, red carpets, press junkets. So they not only review films, but they interview talent at the red carpet or at press junkets as well. Everybody loves going to a red carpet. If you've ever been on a red carpet, you would know it's a terrifying experience. There's so much chaos going on. It's unbelievable, but it's also super exciting. The kids love to go. Their parents are their camera people on the red carpet. With some exceptions, for certain events, we will send in a camera person if we're like at Sundance or Tribeca or a place like that. But most of the time, the parents are their camera people. So we not only train the kids, but we train the parents as well.
And what a great way to connect the child with a family member and share this experience together. I think that's amazing.
Well, That's very true. And one of my favorite stories about that is actually we had a parent who was a investment banker in New York, and his family lived in Westchester. His daughter was very active, and he was the point person. He always accompanied her, and he would usually take her into the office with him on the days that she was going to go to a screening or to a press event. And the kids make a 1-year commitment to us, but most of them stay longer. I think she stayed 2 or 3 years and graduated from high school. And he wrote me and said, I'm kind of sad that Julia's time is up because it's been such a great bonding experience for the two of us to do this together.
Yeah, I bet. It sounds like an amazing experience. And anytime you can bring parent and child together or family member and child, I think that's great. One of the things that I wonder about is, the world today, we hear so many people, so many complaints that young people lack interpersonal skills because they're on their phone, they're doing this, they're watching movies, and they lack these interpersonal skills. What's your process for identifying and interviewing these folks that basically are in this age range that you mentioned before? They're more or less kids, and they're going out and doing these interviews and having conversation and using those interpersonal skills. So what's your process for finding them?
Well, word of mouth is a big thing. We have a pretty substantial following. I mean, our kids' videos of both their reviews and their interviews are all the social media platforms. And they're also republished by some of our partner publications. So we reach 2 to 7 million people with each review that we publish. So we're not a hidden name. We're always looking for more exposure and finding more people to follow us. But I'd say that's probably number one, is that by people knowing who we are, they come to us. Also, we work with a platform called Kids Casting, which is a great online platform. We found a great number of kids through Kids Casting, and the kids are enthusiastic and they know most of them have done some amount of performing. So they know that even though it's a lot of fun, there's also a certain amount of work involved, and they're ready to take that on. We try to emphasize that from the get-go. We're really excited that you want to join the team. Let me give you an idea of what that actually means, because we have deadlines that they have to meet. I mean, every time they go to an event, they go to a press screening, they have 48 hours, 2 days to turn in their written review. We edit it, send it back. They have 48 hours, 2 days to videotape it and upload their videotape review to our Dropbox. So if you're not prepared to meet a deadline, we're not the right place for you.
Do you know finances can be joyful with your partner? We created a fantastic guide for couples to start their journey surrounding their finances. Head over to Midland.us/couplesjoy to download your free copy today. Don't miss out. Start bringing more joy into your financial conversations. Have you had any success stories where one of these kids who did these interviews for you and these reviews went on to much bigger and better things as a result of their experience here?
I have a lot of success stories.
That's good. Can you share one with us?
I certainly can, yeah. We stay in touch with our alumni, and periodically we'll reach out to them and do a quick survey, like 5 questions. And actually, we've recorded some of those sessions. One of the box office pundits, Scott Mendelson, has become a good friend, and I've recruited him to hold those sessions with the kids because he's, not involved with us in any other way, so He's very impartial. But one of our reporters from Miami is now a reporter in New York City for one of the big channels. I think she's at ABC.
Okay.
We have other kids who have gone on to film school and are now working as producers, directors, production designers, animation designers. One of my kids who was with us in the beginning, I was just looking at the other day, so she joined us in 2012 and left in 2019. So she was with us for 7 years, went on to college, graduated from college, and she's now working in Korea as an animator. So, yeah, we have a lot of great stories. And one of the things that the kids say, I have one who's not in the entertainment business at all. She's a neuroscientist.
Oh.
But I included her in the last group that we interviewed. And when it was her turn, she goes, well, I'm not like you guys. I'm not in the entertainment business, but I speak to groups all the time, whether it's 10 interns at the hospital or at a conference with 2,000 people. And she said, I use the skills that I learned at Kids First every day. She said, meeting deadlines, one of the most important things in any job that you do, but speaking on camera, knowing how to convince people, trying to convince people to believe what you're saying and follow along. She said, she did over 200 reviews and interviews when she was with Kids First. And she said, what I learned, I use in my work every day.
Yeah, so it sounds like Kids First is a springboard to a lot bigger and greater things, which is, I think, a great byproduct of what you guys are doing. You mentioned having these surveys, and you said that you recently did a big survey of prior Kids First reporters. What were some of the biggest takeaways that you had besides these successes? What were some big takeaways from that survey that you did?
Well, the things that I already said, meeting deadlines, learning how to speak on camera, learning how to write. But I think other things, they do work collaboratively. We had a podcast on Voice America from 2012 to 2023. And that was all run by the kids. The kids hosted it. The kids were the reporters on it. We loved doing it. It was killing us financially. And so we finally had to shut it down and look for another partner, which we did. So we just brought it up again with iHeart Media, which is handling all the ad sales for us. And the kids were so excited to bring the podcast back. They're like, well, I want to host.
Yeah.
I mean, they love doing this, and they love having a voice and having a way to actually be heard respectfully.
Yeah, such great skills. All the skills that you're talking about are skills that, as your neuroscientist said, whether they go on to bigger and greater things within the media channel or elsewhere, they're all good skills to have anywhere you end up. So You're definitely doing a lot of good. Can you tell us a little bit about the Kids First Festival? What is that about? How did that come to be?
The Kids First Film Festival. Yeah, we started that, and you did your homework really well. Thank you. We started that in 2020. We had always stayed away from doing it because everybody said, don't do a film festival. They lose money.
Right.
And as we looked into it, we realized that film festivals lose money because they want to bring in A-list talent, which means you have to provide travel, accommodations, not just for your talent, but for their entourage as well.
Right.
And we said, we're not going to bring in A-list talent. We want to focus on the content, and we want to show films by independent filmmakers and student filmmakers, which hardly anybody does. But not so much the independents. And there are a few student film festivals. But we took that as our direction and started it, had a huge success out of the box. With the exception, we realized we didn't know what we were getting into. We're really good at evaluating content. We've got that down. We've been doing that since 1991. And however, putting on a festival requires a whole different set of people. You need volunteers to be there, ushers, ticket takers, guides, people to hold the hands of out-of-town guests. Fortunately, we got a call from a gentleman who ran the film festival in the Virgin Islands. And he called me out of the blue and said, "So, I see you've got a collection of films for kids and you're doing a film festival. How would you feel about bringing that to the Virgin Islands?" And I said, "Only if you bring me along with it." And he goes, "Well, actually, that's part of the deal because we have an arrangement with Air American Airlines as our sponsor, and they will cover your travel if you bring the films." And that's when we were showing things in 16 millimeter, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, every format you could imagine. That was before we had the digital formats that we have today. But that opened the door to doing more collaborations with other film festivals. So before COVID, we had 40 different venue partners, established film festivals, museums, different nonprofit arts organizations that we were working with. A lot of them closed during COVID or restructured. And so we lost a number of them, but we were approached by a group in Ukraine and in Pakistan to partner with them. So we were literally showing films in Ukraine in bomb shelters in 2022. And my board said, "Why are we showing films in Ukraine? Aren't they at war?" And I said, "Well, kids still have to go to school and they still need entertainment." So, okay, they thought that we had just gone crazy at my office.
What's the status of the festival today?
We're working with a group of Montessori schools to do film festivals with them as fundraisers for those schools, either as a one-time event or spread out throughout the year. So we're working with a group that provides services to 5,000 Montessori schools across the country.
So that sounds like a great way to distribute it and educate at the same time. And maybe find some people that want to be a kid's first reporter, right? I guess there are probably a few buried there too.
That's always part of our pitch, yeah. I mean, whenever we go in and do a partnership with a film festival, we call it co-hosting. We always try to have one or more of our reporters on site if it's in a city where we have reporters. I mean, I mentioned we have 65 reporters and they are from 40 different locations.
Right.
So we have a lot of locations that we can easily send a reporter in to be there and talk to people about. And those kids, the members of our team, help to make the selections for the film festival as well. So they're very familiar with the films.
Yeah, they're involved in the whole process, which is great. So listen, I want to take a shift for a moment because, listen, I have two kids. I mean, now they're adults, grown adults, 22 and 19, but I know what it's like raising kids and being a parent. And as someone who's been working to keep kids safe as the world continues to evolve, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the explosion? Now, this is not in your wheelhouse today in regards to media and what you've traditionally done. But at the same time, as somebody who's worked with kids for all these years and parents, what are your thoughts on the explosion of gambling sites, gambling apps, and gambling ads everywhere that these kids are looking?
We don't put ourselves in the position of telling kids what not to watch. We believe that's the job of the parent. Our job is to help train them to make better choices about what they are watching. So, I mean, we've been approached by any number of gambling sites that want to put an ad onto our site, and we just don't do it.
Right. I understand as an organization the stance you're taking, but I guess what you're saying is as an organization, although you're leaving it to the parents, you don't think it's a great idea because otherwise you would have that available on your site. Is that a fair, or am I putting words in your mouth?
Oh, that's an interesting way to phrase it. Yeah, I guess that would be a fair thing to say.
Yeah.
If we thought they were okay, we'd take their money and put their ad up on our site.
I think it's a big problem.
It's a hard no for us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even questionable.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big challenge, and we don't know where this is really taking us. And I think the issues that it's going to cause down the road for these young minds is problematic, personally.
Yeah, we're kind of the Pollyannas in children's entertainment. I mean, We don't take any films to play in our film festival that don't meet our basic criteria, which is no gratuitous violence, no inappropriate sexual behavior, no profanity, no bias in terms of race, gender, culture, religion, blah, 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 and no condescension toward children.
Great.
So, for example, we get any number of films submitted to the film festival from students on the topic of suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Hot topic with kids, you know? However, we don't play them. It doesn't fit what we're doing. And an additional criteria we have for the film festival is it has to have an uplifting message.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I don't know that you know this, but I sat on the national board for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention for about 14 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I lost my brother-in-law to suicide. So the only thing I would say on that point, and if that's something that you as an organization don't want to produce, that's fine. But what I would suggest is to those filmmakers, there are channels out there at specifically even at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention that will help them craft the message in a way that will deliver it in a meaningful and impactful way and not a harmful way.
Right.
So although, listen, you as an organization can choose to do your business the way you want. I appreciate that and respect that. And the only thing I would say is you might want to think about referring them to an organization that might be able to help them make sure, because I think those types of films can go either way, right? If they're done properly, they can create an uplifting message to create conversation and potentially prevent and be preventative.
That's good to know. And we will add that. I mean, what we usually do is suggest that they submit it to a festival that deals with different psychological issues or student film festivals, which often will take more risky films like that. But for us, it doesn't fit. I mean, the bottom line for us, because we are partnering with other venues, we need to know what those venues will and will not play.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I'll share some resources with you, and we'll put them in the show notes also as well for the show.
That's just what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be happy to.
Yeah.
So, Ranny, it's been great having you on the show, and we ask each of our guests the same final question, and our listeners are always waiting until the end of the show to hear this answer. So we're all about joy on this show, and we want to know, what did you do today that brought you joy and put you in the right mindset for success?
Other than talking with you, you mean, right?
Of course. Yeah, that was a given.
Right, that's a given, yeah.
Yes.
I have an easy answer for that. I made a commitment this summer to swim every day, partly for my heart health, because I've had some heart issues, and my cardiologist says exercise every day, Ran. And I went, okay. And I love to swim, so that's my favorite form of exercise. And it's chilly out now, so it takes a little bit more incentive to get to the pool when it's 41 degrees out in the air. But the pool's always is warm. So I and one of my best friends who swam with me all summer were at the pool this morning at 9 o'clock. We usually swim at 8. But we waited until it warmed up a little bit.
Sounds like you do the pool and cold plunge all in one.
Well, you know what? When I dive into that warm water, it just feels so good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. When I want to take myself to my happy place, I think of being in warm water and swimming.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing your joy. And Randy, we're going to have, like I said earlier, we're going to have all your information in the show notes about you and about Kids First. But if people want to learn more about you, learn more about Kids First, what's the easiest and the best way for them to do that?
kidsfirst.org.
That's simple enough. Just go to kidsfirst.org. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with us, and enjoy the rest of your day.
It's truly been a pleasure. I've been looking forward to doing this, and you're even more enjoyable live or Zoomed than you are via email.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate that greatly. Take care.
Thank you.
Ranny, thank you for joining us and sharing your incredible mission with Kids First, a movement proving that media can inspire, educate, and empower the next generation. Your passion for helping families raise mindful, confident kids reminds us that positive change starts with purpose. It's been a true joy having you on the Midland Money Mindset. Ranny Levy and Kids First can be found across most social media platforms. All the contact information needed to find them can be found in the show notes.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Midland Money Mindset. Remember, it's not just about the money, it's finding joy in the journey and embracing the right mindset. If you love the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Don't forget to follow along for more tips and inspiration. Please visit the social links below to connect with Larry or his guests. Until next time, keep smiling, keep thriving, and remember to think about, what did you do today that brought you joy?
The opinions voiced in the Midland Money Mindset Show with Lawrence Sprung are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. No strategy ensures success or protects against loss. To determine what may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Investment advisory services offered through CWM LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Guests on the Midland Money Mindset Show are not affiliated with CWM LLC.